Hi, I'm Amber Patterson, and thank you for joining us for another edition of Volusia Magazine. The big news this week is the grand opening of the brand new Emergency Operations Center for Volusia County's Emergency Services. Here and Now reporter Joanne Magley will take us on an insider's tour of that new facility. But that's not the only grand opening around. There's a new beachfront park opening in Ormond Beach. And daylight savings time resumes March 10th when you're reminded to spring forward by setting your clocks and watches ahead 1 hour. But here in Volusia County, there is so much more to it than that. I'll fill you in on that, news and more coming up on Volusia Magazine. Stay tuned. The Volusia County Council, Sheriff Ben Johnson, and a few hundred other people recently celebrated the ribbon cutting for the county's new Emergency Operations and Sheriff's Communications Center. The center will house the county-wide 911 Dispatch Center and Emergency Operations Center. The $21 million, 43,000 square foot facility won't become fully operational until April, but county and city leaders, along with personnel from city and local law enforcement and emergency management agencies and the public, got a chance to tour the facility located off of Tiger Bay Road, just west of Daytona Beach. The 4,000 square foot Emergency Operations Center provides a central location for officials to make strategic decisions during emergencies such as hurricanes, wildfires, civil unrest, and mass casualty incidents, and can hold 90 support staff during disasters. The building was also designated to withstand 180-mile-per-hour winds and an EF3 tornado. For updates on community safety and emergency management, we invite you to like the county's emergency management Facebook page. Just go to facebook.com/Volusia County Emergency Management. Volusia County and the city of Ormond Beach recently celebrated the opening of Ormond Beach's Andy Romano Beachfront Park on Atlantic Avenue. The $8.2 million, 4.5-acre park has more than 100 off-beach parking spaces. It not only improves beach access, it's also expected to help revitalize this important section of Atlantic Avenue. The county provided $3.5 million for the purchase and development of the site. The county's contribution came from the Volusia Eco Grant Program and Port Authority funds. County Council member Pat Northey was on hand to celebrate the park's opening.
This is going to be a showcase park for Volusia County and particularly the city of Ormond Beach. I know how proud they are of this location. We were so excited to be able to partner with them and bring this to the public.
This is Ormond Beach's first beachfront park, and it's on 600 feet of prime beach frontage just south of the Millsap Road beach approach.
This was not just any one individual making this happen. This was a collaborative effort between Volusia County and the city of Ormond Beach. What it does by having an effort together, it takes the expense from one and splits it so that we all share.
In addition to off-beach parking, the beautiful park has a children's playground, a popular splash park, picnic areas, a concession stand, and restrooms. The beachfront park is named after the city's own Mr. Beach, Andy Romano, who led the city's first ocean lifeguard crew, ran a beach concession for years, and also worked as a school teacher and principal for decades.
Well, I'm real proud and I guess to a degree surprised that this was named after me. But it is a very nice thing and I'm very proud of it, and I know it'll be here long after I'm gone. It's like somebody said to me today, they're doing this before you're gone. I said, that's one of the good things.
For more information about Ormond Beach's Andy Romano Beachfront Park, you can visit ormondbeach.org. You know the old saying, spring forward, fall back. It reminds us to turn our clocks ahead in the spring and back in the fall. This year, daylight saving time resumes Sunday, March 10th. March 10th also is the day when Volusia County's lawn watering schedule changes. Residents may water their lawns twice a week until standard time resumes in November.
You can water anytime except between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. And the reason why that is between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., that's the hottest part of the day. So if you put water on the ground, typically it'll just evaporate and you won't get any use out of it. There's another caveat in that most irrigation systems are broken out into zones, and you're only allowed to irrigate 1 hour per zone or 3/4 of an inch per zone. And so there is a limit on that. You can't just irrigate for several hours on one zone. It's 1 hour per zone.
Now, people who live at odd-numbered addresses may water Wednesdays and Saturdays, and people at even-numbered addresses may water Thursdays and Sundays. Businesses may irrigate on Tuesdays and Fridays. Unincorporated residents who violate the water conservation ordinance may be fined up to $500. The time change also is a reminder to change the batteries in your smoke alarms. Smoke alarms can save lives if they're functioning properly, but studies show that most smoke alarms don't work because of missing, dead, or disconnected batteries. According to the National Fire Protection Association, 2/3 of home fire deaths occur in homes without a working smoke alarm.
Many of the smoke detectors that are inspected after fire show that there is no battery in place on the detector. That's why we say change your clock, change your battery. It's just a little mnemonic to remember people to, get up there. Most of them are 9-volt in most cases. Just change that battery out, and that way you'll change it before it goes bad. Just keep a fresh battery in it, and that way you'll be sure that your smoke detector is operational.
Volusia County Fire Services and city fire agencies offer free smoke alarms and even installation assistance to residents. Residents are encouraged to contact their local fire department for smoke alarm information. To learn more about water conservation and fire prevention, you can visit volusia.org.
Volusia County Chair Jason Davis. You know, American veterans deserve our deepest respect, and Volusia County is dedicated to helping our local veterans obtain the benefits they're entitled to. Our veteran service counselors have helped veterans receive more than $173 million in compensation and pension benefits each year, along with $1.3 billion in home loans. Volusia County has veteran service offices in DeLand, Orange City, Daytona Beach, and New Smyrna Beach. For more information, please call 386-740-5102 or visit volusia.org/veterans.
As we showed you earlier, the county recently celebrated the ribbon cutting and community open house for the new Emergency Operations and Sheriff's Communications Center, which becomes fully operational in June. Here and Now reporter Joanne Magley has a behind-the-scenes tour of this new facility and explains how it will strengthen the county's long-standing commitment to protect public safety.
The ribbon cutting of the new 43,000 square foot, $21 million Emergency Operation and Sheriff's Communications Center wasn't just a celebration of a new building. It's a commitment to enhanced public safety. Not too long ago, there were 13 separate public safety communication centers in Volusia County, a system that was fragmented, duplicative, and expensive. But a couple years ago, Volusia County agreed to assume the responsibility for countywide emergency dispatch.
Well, dispatching under one roof equals consolidation. And with consolidation, all the resources, first responder resources in the county, are dispatched from one entity, which is us. All the 911 calls that come into the county are processed in one center and distributed. Back in the day, there were so many 911 centers, it was very difficult to know what a neighboring municipality had going on without calling the center and wasting time. The citizens get a quicker first responder response, whether it's a county, whether it's a police municipality, where it's fire, or where there's an ambulance.
Captain Ray Almodovar, the Communications Center commander, oversees 152 dispatchers between 23 to 28 on a shift, split between answering calls from the public and working with the officers. He says you have to be a special kind of person to be a 911 dispatcher.
takes a person who was able to stay calm under stressful situations, someone that's able to multitask. They have to be a good listener, because when you're dealing with a citizen that they're living, their nightmare becomes a reality, that person is going to be very under high stress. So the telecommunicator has to be able to get the information that they need in order to send appropriate resources to assist them.
The information technology data rooms and the 911 equipment room are the backbone of the building's communications systems, which include servers, routers, storage area networks, and backup hardware. The building features separate but adjoining areas for the Sheriff's Communications Center and the Emergency Operations Center to improve efficiency and maximize the joint use of rooms and facilities. This is a photo of the operations room in the old Emergency Operations Center, called the EOC for short. It effectively accommodated emergency response activities during the 1998 wildfires and the 2004 hurricanes, but it was cramped and crowded during activations. The new operations room is larger and uses the latest technology to coordinate disaster recovery and response. Charlie Craig is the director of the county's Emergency Management Division.
It's going to enable us, those of us in emergency management who have duty officers that are on call 24/7, to now be here in the very same building with the dispatch center that calls us when they need us. We call them when we need them. And I think it's going to just clarify a lot of our missions and enable us to do things more efficiently.
The building is designed to resist 180-mile-per-hour winds and an EF3 tornado, and the lobby includes bullet-resistant interior walls. As recommended by the U.S. Department of Defense, a 3-foot-high concrete barrier wall will create a separation of 82 feet between vehicular access and the building. It's also a green building. The combination of efficient design, sustainable building practices, and advanced technology will result in the new facility operating more efficiently, using less electricity and water, and emitting less carbon dioxide compared to similar buildings of standard design.
With the native landscaping that you see here, we'll actually be saving water because they're drought tolerant, and xeriscaping, which means they're Florida-friendly natives. For the inside of the building, it's one, to save money for the operations itself as far as the water and electricity bills, but also for the comfort of those people working inside the building. So with the low VOCs and the special recycled carpets, things like that. One of the better green features that we have in this facility is actually the chilled ice storage. That will actually enable ice to be made at night, and then that energy can be used during the day. That will cool the facility but have a lower electricity bill. Some of the other great features was actually in the construction. The tiles on the floors as you walk through are actually made from corn. We've got low VOC materials that were used for the buildings and for the paints, and also all of the adhesives.
The new Emergency Operations and Sheriff's Communications Center is located at 3825 Tiger Bay Road, west of Daytona Beach, and will be fully operational in April. For Volusia Here and Now, I'm Joanne Magley.
With 88 people dying daily in the state of Florida from tobacco-related illnesses, tobacco use is an important health concern for the Volusia County Health Department. A number of tobacco prevention programs are available to help the community to get help and information they need to quit smoking. One new program targets the faith-based community by working directly with area churches. Stephanie Strong has details in this segment of Community Health Matters.
On Sunday mornings, you'll find congregations across the country joining together for worship. The Volusia County Health Department's Tobacco Prevention Program is reaching out to the faith-based community to raise awareness to the dangers of tobacco. The program hopes to lift the spirits of those who may need a little help to kick the habit of tobacco. It's a deadly habit. Tobacco-related illnesses are responsible for 88 deaths a day in the state of Florida.
The dangers of using tobacco are the basic health effects that people generally hear about. Tobacco products can affect everything in the person's body. Everywhere that blood flows in a person's body, you can find residue of tar, which is left over from the tobacco product. So anywhere that blood travels in the body is pretty much going to be affected by a person's tobacco usage.
While some churches have health ministries, the health department's faith-based program targets underserved populations and incorporates the development of a health ministry for churches without them.
The purpose of the faith-based program is a new initiative from the Department of Health, where the local tobacco prevention program is working with faith-based organizations, churches, synagogues, institutions of faith, to get to their congregation the message about tobacco prevention and how important it is.
Tobacco prevention is an important program for Volusia County, ensuring that the community remains healthy.
The objectives of the program are to, one, work with youth in the church, and that can be youth ranging from middle, high school, sometimes we do elementary school, all the way up to college-age students, and educating them on the dangers of tobacco use, ways of prevention. We also work with older adults for their cessation progress. We refer them to the Florida Quit Line and get them in line with a quit coach that's going to work with them through the process of quitting. And also for those institutions that don't currently have a health ministry, we work with the pastor to identify people that may be interested in starting a health ministry for that congregation.
For more information about tobacco prevention, please visit www.volusiahealth.com. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Stephanie Strong, Public Information Officer for the Volusia County Health Department.
If you have any questions about this or any other health-related issues, you can always log on to volusiahealth.com. And now let's go into the studio to join Community Information Director Dave Byron as he sits down for this in-depth chat with Volusia County's Fleet Management Manager, George Baker.
Well, thanks, Amber, and hi, everyone. You know, from Votran buses to fire trucks to police cars to dump trucks, it takes thousands of vehicles of all type to get the job done for the public. The management and maintenance of the county's vehicle fleet is a sophisticated business involving millions of dollars in public assets. And with fuel prices soaring, the county is doing everything possible to contain the cost of fuel. Today we'll talk with George Baker, the county's fleet manager, to learn how the county is hedging against rising fuel costs. George, how you doing today?
Hey, doing great, Dave.
Hey, obviously this is a big expense, a major part of county government. Let's talk first about the county's fleet. It is a diverse, eclectic group of vehicles.
Yes, it is. I mean, we have 2,300 vehicles, and it's everything from patrol vehicles to ATVs to utilitarian type vehicles to pickup trucks, excavators, everything, a little bit of everything.
And obviously those vehicles take fuel of some type, whether it's hybrid fuel or whether it's gasoline or diesel or what have you. Overall, George, you have any idea how many gallons of fuel the county uses in the cost of a year?
Yes, we use about 1.85 million gallons of fuel for the county.
So anyway you look at that, at $4 a gallon, if you just to round it off, that's a big number.
Yes. Definitely.
George, let's talk about how the county buys fuel. I mean, you know, we know that on any given day, you drive by your local filling station, price can go up 4 cents, 5 cents, or it can drop 4 or 5 cents. Very volatile pricing these days. How do you go about buying fuel?
Well, we buy fuel by the tanker load, and that's going to save you a lot of money. But so we use an average called OPIS, Oil Petroleum Index Service. And we can use OPIS low or OPIS average, whichever's cheaper. So when we're buying fuel, we look at the index, we know how much it's going to cost, we order the deliveries, and we can order split loads. And we have more flexibility because we work with the school district, we work with 8 other agencies. So we don't just buy 2 million gallons of fuel for the county. Together we buy 6 million gallons of fuel, which saved us $1 million over a 5-year contract, the 8 agencies that buy fuel together.
Basically, you're getting a bulk discount?
Yes, definitely.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, economy of scale.
I knew that, you know, in years past, the county used to kind of predict fuel prices and buy fuel at a price that would be good for, let's say, locked in for 18 months or 2 years. I guess I'm hearing you say that with the volatility of pricing these days, that probably works against you, not for you.
Well, it can. I mean, we've elected not to do that because it's a double-edged sword.
Exactly.
It would be great if we were getting our fuel $1 a gallon less than the pump price, but if it went the other way, that would be on the news first.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, and that's the thing is it's so difficult to predict now. you either would look like a hero or a goat, depending on depending on what prices did. And they, as you say, they can go up and down rapidly.
Right.
Hey, George, when you talk about the county's vehicle fleet, do you outright buy your vehicles, or do you lease them, or do you have a combination of both?
A combination, mostly ownership. Some divisions will lease as they need to for short term. If they have a short term use, a month, 3 months, 6 months, then they would lease because you wouldn't want to own them.
Right.
But other than that, the lion's share of the county vehicles is owned.
Right.
Now, fleet management, our division, we have what we call a lease rental program where you lease it, the county leases it from us, from Fleet Management Division.
Right.
And what we do is for one cost, one budgeted cost, we include all the maintenance, the towing, the tire service, and the future capitalization for one budgeted amount.
George, tell us the process for an acquisition of a vehicle. Now, the county, as you said, has a couple thousand vehicles of one type or another. Big expenditure in terms of capital outlay. What is the process that the county goes through to justify the need for a vehicle, the type of vehicle, that sort of thing?
Well, every single vehicle, whether it's replaced, because we typically replace $1.5 to $2.5 million a year worth of the fleet.
Mm-hmm.
And the fleet's going to be a $30 million total value.
Right.
And so we do have to replace vehicles every year. And replacements, if you have a half-ton pickup truck and you're replacing it with a half-ton pickup truck, that's now the department director, the division director, and the department director have to sign the forms, the acquisition forms.
Right.
They used to not have to, but now they do. Even if you have a half-ton and you're buying a half-ton, you still have to sign those forms. But where we get into a sticking point is if you have a half-ton pickup and now you need a 1-ton pickup.
Right.
And in that case, things are so tight that the divisions will say, well, that's going to be $6,000 more or $10,000 more, and the divisions will end up funding that, and then we'll fund the cost of the original unit. They'll fund the upgrade, and then we'll buy it. But it's division and department directors that sign every single vehicle, and then the deputy county manager.
Do you recycle vehicles, George? In other words, if you have, let's say, I don't know if you do this, but let's say you take a sheriff's patrol car, which gets pretty intensively driven over a 2 or 3 year period. When that vehicle turns over, do you get rid of it, or do you perhaps use it for a less intensive job in county government?
Well, that's a perfect example. We call it cascading, vehicle cascading. And yes, we do it. We have our own in-house motor pool, where we have a motor pool in DeLand and one in Daytona. So we take the vehicles that have been replaced, we put them in the motor pool, make sure they're in good maintenance shape, and then people can check them out if they need them a day, a week, a month, and they don't have to buy a vehicle. But the sheriff, he does an excellent job of cascading, because he'll take a patrol car, he'll put 75 to 100,000 miles on it, on the front line deputies, and then he'll give it to an investigator. And then after the investigator uses it for a while, then he'll give it to like Citizens on Patrol.
Right.
And by the time he gets rid of it, it's got over 150,000 miles on it.
So it's well worn out by the time they get rid of it.
You can take the radiator cap off and drive a new one underneath.
And George, what do you do with the vehicles that you get rid of? Do you sell them?
Yes, we auction them. By county ordinance, all of our vehicles have to go to auction, which we get. Auctions typically bring the most resale of a vehicle.
All right, well, let's talk about fuel consumption and fuel conservation, because obviously with the expenditure of fuel in the millions of dollars, whatever you can do to reduce the fuel consumption, perhaps get better mileage and so forth, it benefits the taxpayers. What are you doing?
Well, what we have done, of course, we have a fleet right-sizing committee, which reduces the number of vehicles in the fleet that are underutilized, and then we can put them in the motor pool, some of them. So we're getting trying to get the right size of the fleet, but then we have a downsizing committee also that we have taken a full-size pickup, downsized it to a compact pickup, taken a compact pickup, downsized it to a sedan.
Right.
And anytime you can do that, you're going to get a lot better fuel economy. even our large dump trucks. Robert Gilmore, our operations manager, he will specify those with the optimum gear ratio, transmission, engine, torque curve, to get even though they're a big dump truck, he'll get the maximum fuel economy.
Obviously, you know, green is the color of the day. I mean, we're all wanting to, you know, conserve energy and reduce our carbon footprint and that sort of thing. And I know you've been very involved in green technology and that sort of thing. What are we doing to be green in our vehicle use, George? Well,
now we have, I believe we have 28 hybrid electric vehicles, which get like 50% better fuel economy. We have propane. We've added propane-powered mowers and forklifts and utility vehicles, and propane is very clean for the environment, and it's cheaper than unleaded fuel. We have biodiesel that we're using at all of our 7 fuel stations, like a 10% mixture, and that's domestically produced, and it's cleaner than regular diesel. We have, then we're looking at trying to get into the compressed natural gas business. We have a generator that's on compressed natural gas, but we haven't gotten there with the vehicles yet because of the infrastructure, but it's coming. By 2015, we're going to have a pipeline all the way to the Panhandle and all the way to Miami. And then hopefully we can get more involved in compressed natural gas. It's very, very clean.
Well, George, I want to thank you for sharing the information with us. Obviously, well, we all want to do the right thing for the environment, and we certainly want to do the right thing for the taxpayers. Sounds like we're on the right track here.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Dave.
Our guest today has been George Baker. He's the County Central Services Director. And with that, Amber, we'll go back to you.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about our program, just give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org. You can also watch the show online. Just go to volusia.org and click on the Volusia Magazine News tab at the top of the page. If you enjoy Volusia's Great Outdoors, the county's Conservation Lands Outreach Program has several outdoor activities lined up in March and more activities throughout the year. You can find out about these activities and much more by going to volusia.org. Not only that, did you know you can view the County Council's meeting calendar there too? You'll find out about meeting dates, activities, special events, topics of interest, and how you can participate. And last but not least, we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today, Volusia County Government's public information radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Patterson. We'll see you next week.